Welcome to Blanc versus everybody. This is episode 1. I want to talk about the beauty of basketball, the art. I grew up watching the Michael Jordans. I seen the Isaiah Thomases. I seen the Magic Johnsons and the John Stocktons, the Karl Malones. A lot of people would call that the golden era. I think basketball, the evolution of basketball is a beautiful thing. I think it is a beautiful art, if you will. We have a lot of great players that came through the league. We have a lot of great players on the way. We have a lot of great players that's in the league today. It's a lot of everything, right? It's just maybe one of the greatest team sports ever where an individual can change the complexity of a game. We've seen that many times with some of the players I named, the LeBron Jameses as well, Kevin Durant's, the Steph Curry's, and the list goes on and on. But today, I want to talk about what's going on today. I want to talk about what I've watched in the NBA Finals, my takes on that, my views on Victor Wembanyama, Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Castle, De'Aaron Fox, my young boy, Dylan Harper, who's been playing excellent ball. I want to talk about the upcoming NBA draft, some of the teams I think that should move up in this draft, some of the teams I think that should move down in this draft. Also want to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves because Anthony Edwards has been saying he needs them to upgrade that roster. He needs help. So we have a lot of different things that I really want to get into. But before all that, I need y'all to go run up them likes, subs, and hype. Again, run up those likes, subs, and hype. You can follow me on Twitch at West Philly Blanc. I'm trying to get used to this podcast thing and see where this goes. And I see a lot of different narratives. I see a lot of sports channels and how they're trying to spin narratives and run with stories because we know the NBA is based off storylines and what captures the ears and have you feeling this way. I don't want to do none of that. I don't want to create storylines and narratives. I strictly want to stick to the facts. And I'm hoping once you get in this chat, you stick to the facts as well. You bring your thoughts and opinions to the table so we can talk about that. I'm going to give you some pushback, of course. I want you to give me some pushback. I want you to be yourself. I want you to if I said something that stirred the pot a little bit and I meant to, right? I meant to do that. Right now, I am live on Twitch, again, at West Philly Blanc. And for my Twitch people, I am live on YouTube at West Philly Blanc. Just type that in. It'll bring you directly to the channel. So, as I was saying, the New York Knicks are up 2-1 in this series. But the series is far from over. It just got interesting with the San Antonio Spurs going into Madison Square and winning Game 3, which they needed to do. They are fighting for their lives. Let's not make no mistakes about that. But I still believe that this series goes back to San Antonio 2-2. I still believe the San Antonio Spurs will pull us out. They will win this series. I have a lot of reasons why, but again, you know, that experience, that playoff experience is important. The New York Knicks have a ton of playoff experience with some proven veterans. Who have had great playoff series and had some great playoff runs. So, and you also got to think the San Antonio Spurs, their top 8 rotational guys only have 50 games of playoff experience total. Think about that. Their top 8 rotational players only have 50 games of playoff experience. So that's important to note. And it's also important to note their team age average is only 25 years old. They're a young team. They are ahead of the schedule. They're not even supposed to be here according to all the commentators and the people we see on TV who's saying, hey, they shouldn't be here. OKC should have done. Yes, yes, yes. We're not talking about yesterday. We're talking about today. We're not talking about last year. We're talking about this year. We're not talking about OKC and what they should have done or what could have happened if they had Williams and Mitchell. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about Chet Holmgren shrunk. We're not talking about him needing a heart and developing a heart this off season. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the San Antonio Spurs right now against the New York Knicks in the finals. Just think about that. Them boys are way ahead of schedule. And it's exciting to watch. It's exciting to see these kids mature right in front of our eyes. Just go out there and just prove they're young dogs, and they're going to be around for a while. They're going to be around for a while. So let's jump straight into it. We all know who's the engine of the New York Knicks. We all know Brunson is that little engine that goes, and once he gets going, everybody fall in line. They follow suit. So I think he has to play better. Yes, you look at the points, but that doesn't tell a story. That does not tell a story of how horrible he's been in these NBA finals. Has he been clutch? Yes, that's what he do. That's what he do. He's been doing it all year. We expect him to be exactly who he's been, but the shooting, not the points, not the points, the shooting. The shooting has been horrible. Jalen Brunson has been shooting 37% from the field and 32% from the three-point line. Is he due for a big game? Yes. But right now, I think his play is hurting more than it's helping because we watched Jalen. He's forcing shots. He was 11 for 25 last game. Not good, but not that bad. But again, I think he's pressing a lot. He's pressing a lot, and I think that is really, really hurting. That is really hurting the New York Knicks. I think they need to protect the ball more. Their ball movement and those turnovers in Game 3 cost them. OG played an excellent game. He's been solid all playoffs. He's been solid throughout these playoffs. Mikal Bridges and Cat, they disappeared. Mikal Bridges and Cat in Game 3, they disappeared. But it wasn't all their fault when you look at it. Again, those numbers don't tell the whole story. It's up to Brunson to make sure Cat gets involved. It's up to Mikal Bridges to be more aggressive. It's up to Cat to be more aggressive and call for the ball. It's up to you to call for the ball. You're an all-star. This is what you do. This is why they brought you here, to be that number 2. Mikal Bridges, they gave up 5 draft picks for you, my man. 5. Does World Wide West and Leon Rose look like geniuses right now that the New York Knicks are in the NBA Finals when everybody was talking about, oh my God, they gave up those 5 draft picks because they were in win now mode. They're in win now mode. And they are looking like geniuses a little bit, right? We're not questioning that. But those guys have to show up. Those guys have to show up. I think Victor Wembanyama has to start playing under control. He has to start using his advantages. There's no way you should be fading away when you have 6'5", 6'7" guards on you. Take them in the paint, abuse them. Yes, we know he has a jump shot, but sometimes Victor Wembanyama makes me mad when he plays like a shooting guard instead of a big man. His shooting percentages in the series, it started out rocky. It started going up. In game 1, Victor Wembanyama shot 28% from the field. 28% from the field. That was game 1. Game 2, it went up to 52%. Game 3, 61%. That's not the problem with Victor. The problem is the rebounding. Game 1, 12 rebounds. Game 2, 9 rebounds. Game 3, 8 rebounds. We need Victor on the boards. Now, the only problem to that is Cat has been pulling Victor out the paint. He's been pulling Victor out the paint. So, but he still needs to go down there, especially on the offensive end. On the offensive end, they need to grab more rebounds. Yes, it's a team effort. It's a team effort. But Victor, we expect you nothing lower than 12 to 15 rebounds a game, especially this series. There's nothing they can do to stop you. I think Cat, with the weight he has over you, I think that wears you down. So does Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson, his volume has went up. He showed why he's an important part of this New York Knicks team. I'm a big fan of Mitch, man. I'm really a big fan of Mitch. So we have to see what happens with Jalen Brunson. Again, 37% from the field ain't going to do it. 32% from the free throw line ain't going to do it. Yo, anybody, please, where is De'Aaron Fox? Where is De'Aaron Fox? Somebody got to wake him up. Somebody got to let him know, hey, we're in the NBA Finals. It's here. We all know what type of caliber of a player he is. We all know the impact player he is. We've seen it for many years. We've seen what he did in Sacramento. We need that now. The San Antonio Spurs need that now. I think he's been pressing, but I also don't think he's been as aggressive as they need him to be. That leadership is there. But you got that young dog behind you. Dylan Harper, he's in a wing. He ready. That kid is ready. That kid is something special. He's something exciting. He's been playing excellent basketball. He's been playing excellent basketball. This is what it is, and it's beautiful. We watched his development. It's a reason why he was number 2. He was the number 2 pick in his draft. It's the number 2 pick in his draft. He's been playing excellent. Castle, what can I say about Castle, man? I mean, he's another young guy. Yo, San Antonio Spurs is spooky. They have a really, really good team. A really young team. That's going to be around for a while. So they're going to challenge OKC for years to come. We're going to talk about OKC a little later on. But again, that nucleus of that young core with Victor leading the way, man, it's special. It is special to watch. But we definitely need De'Aaron Fox to step up and play some better basketball, man. We definitely need him to wake up and prove, hey, why we brought you here? Why we brought you here? Show it. Let me go through my notes a little bit because I did take some notes. Again, Cat, he needs to be involved more. Cat needs early touches. He needs early touches for him to impact the game, to put his fingerprints on the game. I think when Cat is dominant early, I think when he gets those early touches, I think the floor opens up for the Knicks. I think it makes it easier for Brunson. We know Brunson loves to get downhill. Yo, it's funny watching. I watched a couple plays with Hart, right, where he seen that big alien down there. He made a U-turn. I watched the New York Knicks. It's intimidating to see, but you gotta attack the rim. If he blocks it, he blocks it. I mean, hey, you gotta get him in foul trouble. You gotta get him in foul. Speaking of foul trouble, I know I'm bouncing around a lot here right now. Game 3, the New York Knicks were in a penalty early in the fourth quarter. Why wasn't San Antonio attacking the rim? Why wasn't San Antonio attacking the rim? Mitch Johnson, that's on you. Mitch Johnson, that was on you. But again, we need Cat to get early touches because that opens up the floor and it draws Victor out of that paint where everybody else can go downhill and attack the rim, right? When Victor Wembanyama controls that paint, the Spurs win. If Victor Wembanyama gets comfortable in that paint and controls everything that's going down there on the defensive end, the Spurs will win the series. I know a lot of people thinking this is going to be a 7-game series. It's not. I hear a lot of people saying that the league needs this to go 7. They don't. I think it's two different things that's happening right now, folks. It's two different things that's happening right now. You got a New York Knicks team that have brought life back into New York City. Wasn't the Giants. It's not the Yankees. It's not the Mets. Something about when New York Knicks basketball is great. The energy, the vibe, the feeling, the emotions, the aggression, the swag. We see it all. We see it all. So I think when the New York Knicks are good, it's great for the NBA. So we're dealing with two different things here, though. The NBA needs the New York Knicks to be the champions. But they also need the face of the league, Victor Wembanyama, to be a champion as well. It's like, it's tug of war here. It's tug of war here. And it's great for basketball, man. It's great for basketball. It's great to see the New York Knicks good again. Good again. They are having a very, very impressive playoff run, and they continue to show improve, and they continue to show why they are here. I'm not trying to hear, oh, Boston. I don't want to hear that. I personally don't want to hear that because I personally don't believe if Boston was healthy, they would have beat this Knicks team. I think Boston needs a big man. Joel Embiid exposed that already. But that was something we already knew, right? But I think New York, it was New York's time to be here. It was New York's time to be here. So it's great for the NBA. It's great for that New York City fan base. It's great for the city of New York to experience this and get this. They deserve it. They deserve it. It's also very, very impressive how fast the San Antonio Spurs rebuilt that team. It's also very impressive how Victor Wembanyama, the presence, and when they got that number 1 pick in that draft, to draft him, the life, the energy, just how he changed that organization, and it sped up the rebuild mode. And I mean the process of that rebuild, it sped everything up, right? It moved their timeline up. So I think the league, man, I think the league is in very, very good shape. I think Victor Wembanyama wants to be the face of the NBA. He wants that challenge. He wants to carry that on his shoulders. The young man is impressive. The young man is impressive, and it's going to be even more scary when his offensive game finally develops. He learns how to get in his spots more effortless, more smooth, more under control. I think once he learns how to play in the post a lot more, I think nobody down there can stop him. When he puts on a little more weight, a little more muscle, I think that's going to be scary. It's going to be scary, especially when you got them two dogs that's in the backcourt, Harper and Castle. Oh man, that core, and and shout out to just that whole top 8 rotation, man. The Spurs are very impressive, and shout out to Mitch Johnson though. He's a young up and coming coach, and I'm rooting for him. And I think he has done a wonderful job. I think he has some big shoes to fill, and I don't think he's worried about the pressure of that. I think he wants to carve out his own lane, and establish himself, and let everybody know, hey, we had the great Pop here. And Pop presence is always felt. He's around the building. He's in the building. He's at some of the practices. But I think Pop has done a great job of just letting Mitch Johnson carve out his own niche, his own lane, and letting him figure it out, and being that great mentor that he is, and just that great human being that he's known to be. And it's very impressive, man. So shout out to the organization. Shout out to their whole organization. The San Antonio Spurs are really, 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 really impressive. But again, as I was saying, Cat has to get the ball early, right? He needs those. He needs those touches, man. But we all, like I said, Brunson, we know how he responds after a loss. We've been watching it all year. He comes up big. He comes out with a chip on his shoulder. And he wants to dominate. He wants to put his footprints on the game early, fingerprints on the game early. We know he comes out in attack mode. He comes out a lot more aggressive. But he has to play under control, take his time. And again, that 37% from the field ain't going to cut it. That 37% shooting from the field will not cut it. 32% from the three-point line will not cut it. So I definitely expect Jalen to wake up, play a lot better. And I still say this series goes back to San Antonio 2-2. 2-2. And the pressure is all on the Knicks. If they don't win game 4, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. Yes, we know they can win in San Antonio. They won the first 2 games there of the series, but I don't really feel like they won. I feel like San Antonio lost that game. They gave the game away, especially game 1 when they were up 14 points. I think they choked the game away. I think this series could have been 2-0 San Antonio way, or 1-1 going back to New York City. And so I think it could have went either way, but unfortunately it's 2-1 right now, New York with the lead. But I still think this goes 6 games, and I still think San Antonio wins the series. That's just my personal opinion, my personal feelings on the matter. But we will see. Shout out to both teams, and thank y'all for a very, very entertaining NBA Finals. A very entertaining NBA Finals. Let's switch topics here. We know we got the NBA draft coming up. We know it's a lot of young talent that's coming into the league. We know we have some big name marquee players in college basketball that's coming into the league. So man, I think this is this potentially has a chance to be one of the greatest draft classes ever. I mean, especially that this is a deep draft. You don't actually have to be a lottery pick team to pull one of those remarkable talents out, man. This first round, man, is crazy. And those first 5 picks, whew. I know a lot of teams. I know Washington, man. Just the pressure Washington has. Is it going to be AJ? Is it going to be Peterson? Like, which way do they go? Boozer. I mean, we got so much talent that's coming into this draft, and I'm just looking forward to seeing how everything plays out. Now, let's talk about some of the teams that should move up in the draft and some of the teams that should move down in the draft. I want to start with last year's champions, the defending champs, until San Antonio Spurs wins it all. And FYI, I'm not a San Antonio Spurs fan, but that's neither here nor there. I am rooting for them though. So we're gonna start off with OKC. I think OKC needs to package their 2 first-round picks and move into the top 10, maybe get in the top 8, because they can find a player there, and I think they need some front court help. Chet needs to get a heart. He needs a heart. I don't know if it was the fair Wemby. I don't know if it was the moment. But the talent is there, man. The talent is there with him. It's just something's not clicking. I just don't know what it is fully. But I do think they need to package those first round picks and move up and at least, let's just say, get in the top 8, get a top 8 prospect and go from there. I mean, they don't need all those draft picks. Why are you holding on to them? So that's what I feel. I feel like they need to move up in this draft, and I think that same thing with the Charlotte Hornets. Same thing with the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte Hornets have a very nice young core. They don't need no more young players. They don't need to keep trying to develop these young players. No, they can actually package their first round picks, consolidate those assets, and find some front court help, because that's what they're missing. I mean, I think you got Kine, you got Miller, you got LaMelo. I think they need to re-sign Bridges, keep Bridges there, because he's a dog. He's a dog. So I think they need to package some of those multiple first round picks, because they already have that young core. So them and OKC, I think they need to package some of those first round draft picks that they have, and whether Charlotte finds that in the draft or they use that for a trade. Same thing with OKC. Same thing. Go get a veteran player. Go get a veteran big man. And the question is, what veterans is out there? What big men do y'all think that helps OKC that's already in the league or that's coming into the league? Same thing with Charlotte. I know it's been a lot of talk with, do they keep Chet? Yes, they keep Chet. You don't move off that talent because of one playoff series. You don't move off that talent just because of a game 7 where he scored 4 points. You work through that. And I think it was Shea's job to make the game easier on Chet, and I don't think he did that. I don't think he helped them. I don't think they made the game easier for him. I think the coach didn't draw up the right plays to get him some early touches to build his confidence. I think Wemby, is something about him when he plays him. I don't understand it. I don't understand that, man. All right, but off that, let's talk about some of my teams that I think need to trade down. Some of my teams that I think need to trade down. Starting off with the LA Clippers. I think the LA Clippers are in a weird spot. I mean, they're not good. They're not bad. They just like stuck in the middle of going nowhere. It's like, okay, we're going to go down this far, but then it's going to be a dead end and we have to turn back around. There's something about it that they just can't, they just stuck in the middle. And especially with all this outside noise that's going on with Kawhi Leonard, with this investigation, did they manipulate the cap to get him and gave him some extra money? What Steve Ballmer gonna do? Like, so I mean, I know the NBA is still investigating, so there's a lot going on over there in LA. There's a lot going over there on with the Clippers, but I think they're one of the teams that need to move down to get some extra pieces. I think the trade for Garland was a great start because you're looking at the future. You're trying to build for the future. So I think trading down, getting some more pieces, getting some rotational players in there, getting some more young guys in there that can continue on building because they're in rebuild mode. It's time to rebuild. Once you move off James Harden, once you moved off Paul George, once you moved off Zubac, I think it automatically puts you in rebuild mode because Kawhi just not going to be enough. This is not the Toronto Raptors. This is not a younger Kawhi Leonard where he can carry this team like he did Toronto. Now, Toronto has some nice pieces. LA Clippers does not have a Siakam on that team. LA Clippers don't have the veteran leadership of a Fred VanVleet. They don't have it. So this is not one of those teams where Kawhi can be Kawhi, but he still has that security blanket. It's no security blanket there. It's no. Bradley Beal has been a horrible, horrible pickup. He's not the Bradley Beal that was in Washington. I know they're regretting that one. I know the Phoenix Suns was regretting that. I know they couldn't wait to unload off that contract. So I think they really need to move down because even if they move down, right, how deep this draft class is, they can still find the player they need with the same talent tier. It's such a great draft. So trading down, getting some more assets, whether that's another second round pick to go on with a first round, whatever that is, you need more pieces. Same thing with the Milwaukee Bucks. I think the Milwaukee Bucks trade down. I think they need to trade down, and because this is a deep draft class, and I think they can get 2 rotational players in there, and then also we know they're about to come off the Giannis situation. We're trying to see where he lands. I know it's been talks of the Miami Heat. It's been talks of is the Boston Celtics willing to come off Brown? There's a lot going on over there. So I do think Giannis gets moved on draft night. I think they do move Giannis on draft night, just like every other sports analyst has been saying. So it's going to be interesting to see. So they definitely need 2 rotational players because they are in rebuild mode. They are in rebuild mode. Let me see something. I mean, them hiring Doc just never made no sense. Never made no sense to me. Why would you bring in Doc Rivers? Why would they bring in Doc Rivers? So that's just one of those things where I do believe that moving off Giannis is the best thing for them, but what they bring in is very, very important. But we also know that it's up to Giannis to want to go there because he controls his fate. Does he sign an extension with the team that they trade him to? So a lot of teams are not going to risk that. You bring in Doc Rivers, and he was 96 and 101. His record was 96 and 101 when he took that job. That's what he ended with. So we knew he was out of there. So I think they definitely need to move off him. Giannis, that's going to be very, very, very interesting, man. And another team, the Brooklyn Nets are weighing their options. Do they stay put or do they move back in this draft? That team, their age average is 23 years old. They're a young team. They have some nice young pieces that they've been developing, and they can add on. They're going to be very, very interesting to watch. So I'm intrigued to see what they do with what they bring in and who they add to that team. And the other question is, do they add some solid veteran help? Do they add some solid veteran help to kind of guide these young guys? Because you don't want a team just full of young players and it's no veteran presence in that locker room. I think a veteran presence is needed in the NBA, and I think the league is just pushing out all the veterans and getting them out of here. And I think that we need to figure that out, man. We need to figure that out. So I'm watching to see what is done with that. Do they swing for the fences? Do they swing for the fences? Um, Michael Porter he was excellent this year. I think he was excellent. I think the record killed them from him not all-star potentially. He balled out. I think when they moved off Cam Thomas, Cam Thomas, man, the talent there, but I hear something about him in the locker room. He just doesn't fit in NBA locker rooms. We all know he's a defensive liability, but he's a bucket. Cam Thomas is a bucket, but he just can't stick on the NBA roster. I think his biggest mistake was not taking that contract when the Brooklyn Nets offered that to him. I think he gambled on himself and he lost. He lost. Last but not least, I want to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's been said that Anthony Edwards wants them to upgrade that roster. Let me ask y'all a question. Is Julius Randle a Robin? Would you consider Julius Randle a strong number 2? I don't. I think he's a number 3, a third option on a championship contending team. I think he's a third option on a championship contending team. He's not a 2. He's not a number 2. He's too inconsistent. He shrinks in big moments. He's always been a defensive liability. I think when he's not getting touches, he just out of the game all the way. He takes bad shots in the wrong moments. Do I think he's a bucket at times? Yes. I think, but he's another player where the numbers don't tell the whole story. The numbers don't tell the whole story when it comes to Julius Randle. I think they need to figure out a way to move off him. The Minnesota Timberwolves need a point guard. They need a point guard. Ja Morant would be perfect over there for them. Ja and Anthony Edwards, that would be crazy. But Anthony Edwards needs a running mate in that backcourt. They need somebody that can control that offense, the flow of the game, that can take pressure off Anthony Edwards. But they need a point guard who can also get a bucket, that can play defense. But they're missing a floor general. Mike Conley was great. We know he's just a great veteran. I personally think Mike need to retire now. But Anthony Edwards is missing a point guard, and they need to get rid of Julius Randle. I'm not a fan of Julius. I'm sorry. I think Rudy Gobert, I think he played excellent in these playoffs. He showed his value in these playoffs until he ran into Victor Wembanyama. But I think overall, Rudy had a very, very, very solid playoff run. I was questioning. I think they gave up a lot to get Rudy, but I mean, he's a 4-time defensive player. Like, what are you gonna do? We know he's limited offensively, but what are you gonna do? I think Danny robbed Minnesota with that trade, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, Anthony Edwards, Minnesota Timberwolves, they need a point guard and they need to move off Randle. He's not a number 2. He's not. I'm sorry, folks. There's a lot more that I want to talk about. There's a lot more things that we're going to get into. But I just appreciate everybody tuning in for episode 1. And make sure every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Tune in This is Blanc versus Everybody, the podcast, episode 1. Leave your comments, your thoughts inside the comments. Make sure y'all subscribe, y'all like, and y'all share them subs, man. Run up that hype, man. Stop playing with me. This is Blanc versus Everybody.